We have with us now House Oversight Chairman Congressman Darrell Issa. Congressman Issa, how you doing, my friend?
Rick, I'm doing great. I'm just got back into San Diego County minutes ago, and I'm delighted to be in my hometown.
Well, we're glad to have you back. I was just mentioning, it's the time goes by so quickly. We hosted some town hall meetings. Was that last summer or summer before last? I've lost track.
Sadly, summer before last. That was tough. That was just before the president didn't listen to everything we'd heard, and Obamacare got passed.
That's right. We've got to talk to you about Operation Gunrunner. You've been making the Obama administration pretty uncomfortable lately for being the most transparent administration in history. They're not being very they're not being very transparent, are they?
I think of Superman not being able to see through lead, and yet everything was transparent to him. Obama administration sort of led. You can look at a lot, but they are absolutely opaque, even to Superman. We issue subpoenas after they tell us time and time again. They tell senators, "Well, I'm sorry, we can't answer your question because you're not chairman." So okay, Senator Grassley's not a chairman, so I ask. They don't answer. Then I send a subpoena. They say, well, there's a criminal investigation. Well, of course there's a criminal investigation. Your own people allowed guns to be given away as part of some sort of a loose sting. And after 2,000 guns and thousands of rounds of ammo are gone, we've got a dead Border Patrol agent, the country of Mexico calling it an act of war. And they're saying, well, we have an investigation. No, what you have are people who did wrong at high levels in the Department of Justice, and you're not disclosing, and we think you're covering up.
Let me, Congressman Issa, let me explain to people, for those that may not know, and I suspect there are many that don't know. Under Project Gunrunner, and then there was a Phoenix offshoot dubbed
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, right. The ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, they encouraged gun store owners to sell guns to straw and ammo to straw buyers, consumers who they suspected of working on behalf of Mexican drug cartels. They purposely allowed these buyers to illegally buy and export guns only to see where they surfaced in Mexico. The problem is, like with everything else that comes out of the administration, they couldn't keep up with it. I mean, we're talking, almost 2,000 guns, included hundreds of AK-47s, the high-powered, armor-piercing 50-caliber rifles. They allowed these things to be purchased illegally, then trafficked to Mexico. I suppose they were just trying to use this as a common thread to find the drug cartels, but it didn't exactly work that way, did it?
No, it actually is about as smart as pouring gasoline on a fire, saying you want to get rid of all the carbon so you can see what's left. They absolutely did what, and I've talked to many career ATF people, FBI people, DEA people, and there's three things you never let walk: unmarked money, drugs, and guns.
Yeah.
And in this case, they let them walk. They encouraged them walking. Initially, they tried to blame the gun stores. And even as late as just 2 days ago, I was doing a field hearing up in Salinas, California. The congressman up there of the other party began ranting and raving about the need for gun control as I mentioned Gunrunner. And I said, wait a second, this isn't about gun control. This is about law enforcement forcing guns into exactly the wrong hands and then complaining. I don't want to hear about law-abiding citizens not getting their weapons. Well, in fact, we've created 2,000 loose guns, which will be killing people on the north and south side of the Mexican border for perhaps a generation. Those things have a long shelf life, as does the ammo.
I know you're basically what I've read. You're getting sick and tired of waiting for the Department of Justice and the ATF and the White House to respond to your subpoenas. So I guess you sent a letter today or yesterday to the ATF warning of contempt proceedings. Is that right?
We are, and this is on behalf of both myself and my judiciary counterpart, Senator Chuck Grassley. But it's more than that. We gave them attached information that had been provided to both the senator and myself by whistleblowers. This was stuff that had become public in a number of ways. Some of it CBS. Bless their hearts, they've done a lot of good work on this, too. So we're telling them that we already know enough that we want to make sure they understand we're not investigating gun shops, and we're not investigating the bad guys who bought and provided them. We're investigating the Department of Justice, and we expect to have cooperation because, quite frankly, no one's going to, oversee the other side, part of government as well as we will. And we understand that Eric Holder and others would like to have this just go away because whether it was a felony or not remains to be seen, but it was certainly felony stupid.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. And as you well know, you and I have talked many times, both on and off the air, the level of violence at the southern border has increased significantly, no matter what Janet Napolitano says. I mean, I'm broadcasting, as you know, about 18 miles from the international border. And, the last thing, as you said, throwing gas on a fire, you let 2,000 illegal guns purchased by the bad guys be trafficked back into Mexico. Don't tell me that we're not going to have some impact, along the southern border. So, somebody needs to fess up and say, okay, we screwed up. I may not like it, but at least they're honest about it.
Well, and we've had some of that in other areas of the Obama administration. We've had the Security Exchange Commission, the chairwoman over there, an Obama appointee. We pointed out problems. She said, you're absolutely right, I'll take corrective action. We've worked with the Department of Transportation. For some reason, two of the worst areas, and you just named them, obviously justice overall has been terrible, certainly at going after other wrongdoing in the administration. And then the Secretary of Homeland Security, between politicizing, literally handing Freedom of Information documents requested by the media, by the press, handing them over and creating kind of an enemies list of who asked for what that they might not even give them anyway. Incredible, but the one you just said is the one that flabbergasted me. Janet Napolitano is saying publicly that it's safe at the border. I have a team of staff and one of my congressmen on the committee who is responsible for national security out of Utah, Jason Chaffetz. He schedules to go down to the border in Arizona, the area of federal lands that is this sort of no man's land where we're having a tough time because the agents aren't supposed to go in, but the bad guys are. And it's a national park. He gets told, we can't protect you. We absolutely recommend you not go there, and we just tell you we can't protect you, and it is not safe. And I'm going, well, he's getting told that on the exact same day that she made that absurd statement about it's never been safer at the border.
Yeah. Today I had to laugh out loud, Congressman Issa. I don't know if you've heard that clip. David, see if you can find that clip of Janet Napolitano for Congressman Issa. You've probably heard it, but in case you haven't, and then there have been times when, I know you're in transit or you're in the air and you don't hear these things. But basically, we're safer now because she's got a web page. Do you have that, David? You've got that Janet Napolitano son. As a matter of fact, Jim McInnes has that. Jim McInnes, could you play that for Congressman Issa for me?
Accompanying the alerts will be an entire communication strategy which involves conventional media as well as the new social media and a new website page, dhs.gov/alert.
Yeah, that's going to scare Hamas, Hezbollah, and Al-Qaeda to death.
It's Department of Homeland Security. I try to give them a little bit of a pass because we put together in that organization most of the most difficult and failed organizations. But at this point, she's managed to take bad and make it worse, demoralizing so many of these agencies, and yet promoting, and as you see it, the TSA, they're at 57,000 and going up number of people, which means there's more workers producing your ability to go across to get on an airplane. There's more federal workers there than there are Chrysler workers in America or Ford workers. Literally, you're talking about a whole car company doesn't have as many employees now as these guys do. It's amazing, and it keeps growing.
Talking with Congressman Darrell Issa, just an unbelievable story, Operation Gunrunner and an offshoot in Phoenix. We're going to recap that, find out what Congressman Issa is working on our behalf. We'll do that in just a second, 18 minutes after the 4 o'clock hour. I'm Rick Roberts. You're in the Court of Public Opinion.
Rick Roberts.
This is Talk Radio 760.
KFMB.
All right, welcome back. 23 minutes after the 4 o'clock hour. Again, want to thank Congressman Darrell Issa for sticking around. He, of course, the House Oversight Chairman. Congressman Issa, I know you just landed. You're probably ready to, get some rest, and we just got a couple minutes here left. For those of us, perhaps, that aren't intimately involved with this, for people that haven't heard about this, tell them again briefly, at the risk of being redundant, what Operation Project Gunrunner and the Fast and Furious offshoot in Phoenix, what it was supposed to do, what actually happened, and what you're prepared to do next.
Well, these were programs that we now learn based on a GAO report, an IG report that said they were making too many petty arrests for straw purchases. They decided, okay, we won't do that. What we'll do instead is we'll tell the gun shops to go ahead and sell the guns, and then we'll trace them back to the big guys. Now, it all sounds fine if you're in a Serpico movie, but what went wrong is 2,000 weapons, literally countless thousands of rounds, AK-47s, lots of high-powered weapons, including ones that can kill you, a sniper rifle that can kill you at 2 miles. They get sold, shipped, most of it to Mexico. One of them, and maybe more, ended up killing a Border Patrol agent and allegedly more than a dozen federales. The people of Mexico, their government has called it an act of war, and quite frankly, if you deliberately and knowingly let weapons go into a country that prohibits guns and where gun violence is the number one thing killing their federal agents, they're pretty close to right. And then when we started investigating, and in fairness, Senator Grassley was the point person on this, they've stonewalled, they've refused to answer, they've first claimed that Congress didn't have the authority unless a chairman asked for it. When I asked for it as a chairman, they then said, well, it was an ongoing investigation. We've tried to get any kind of legitimate information through the front door. What we're finding is whistleblowers, including many of the men and women at ATF, they want to tell their story. They want us to put out the fact that many of them thought this was insane, but they were approved by much higher up in justice.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Project.
That's what I was going to ask you. Who approved this insanity?
We have not gotten to the top there, but we have no question. We have whistleblowers that are telling us it goes high up in justice. And, of course, justice, amazingly, is telling us that they have an ongoing investigation, and they cite indictments, but they're indictments of the straw purchasers. They clearly have not gotten the word that the criminals here are not, to any great extent, the people who bought the guns. The criminals are those who let this go on and on and on. One straw purchase, and you follow him to where he gets back to his apartment or where he goes to deliver it to the guy up. That's a sting. Letting them go and disappear into Mexico, that's criminal.
You don't know, I know, but how high up in the White House do you think this goes?
Well, like Iran-Contra, we don't really believe that the president was calling the shots directly from the Oval Office, but it's very clear this could not be approved at very local level. We've talked to U.S. attorneys. I have one former U.S. attorney who works for me as a fellow congressman on our committee, and he looked at me and said, you can't approve this below the U.S. attorney, and no U.S. attorney is going to approve this without memos to what is now Eric Holder's job.
Right.
So, at least in the case of people who know that work with me, they have very little doubt that this should logically go to the Office of the Attorney General. It may not go beyond that, but right now the cover-up seems to be leading to that office.
Listen, Congressman Issa, it's always a pleasure. What are you working on?
Well, this one is occupying a lot of time, unfortunately, needlessly. But mostly what we're working on, I spent most of this week around California, a series of field hearings where we were listening to employers tell us what the impediments to job creation are. They go to, many of them had gone to AmericanJobCreators.com and filed some of the information, but we had high-tech leaders, agricultural leaders, tool and die people, and now we're going to have biotech people tomorrow at UCSD who are going to tell us what it is that government's doing that's getting in the way of the creation of jobs and wealth that used to really drive America in a direction that no other country could equal. because we think that those are the items that, in at least House Republicans, need to be attacking. If you tell me EPA's got X rule that's stopping you from growing crops, and that didn't exist in 1992 or in 1995 or 1998, we've got to ask, why does it have to be implemented poorly during a great recession? And what we're finding for the most part is it's just the growing bureaucratic state, and they just don't have any connection with the unemployment rate, because there's no unemployment in the federal government.
Yeah.
They've been hiring.
That's
you know,
true.
McDonald's doesn't hold a candle to the federal government when it comes to hiring.
Congressman Darrell, Issa, I appreciate it very, very much. We're going to follow up on this Operation Gunrunner, see where this trail leads into the administration.